The multiplicity of audits has a flip side to it as well. The burden can weigh down the efficiency of the audit process as a whole and can result in audit failures.
About the multiplicity of audits. See, what has happened today is, if you look at certifications, if you look at audits, if you look at surveillances, if you look at even governance in terms of regulation, you'll find that there are multiple regulators, multiple audits, multiple standards, multiple certifications. Each of them act in silos, but none talks to the other. So, there is no super regulator, or there is no one person or one organization or one entity which really looks at the input coming from all these different audits or views. What here happens is that every time you face a particular auditor, you can tackle him, and the organization is able to give him an appropriate view which enables him to certify. That's one aspect of it. The second thing is, again an issue why audits often fail is because they are based on a sample. And also the third issue is that an audit is an external person's view into the organization. So an organization can put its best foot forward. So whenever there is collusion, when management or employees collude to paint a particular picture, it is very difficult for an external person to really gauge as to what is happening.
So what should be done to prevent audit failures?
Skill sets of the auditors need to be upgraded. They need to be better trained. It calls for an integrated approach. Also, there is another important element that's missing in most audits, and that is the element of continuous monitoring. Continuous monitoring on the systems, processes, people, and the numbers that flow into balance sheet, the number of people that are there in the company, the number of accounts that are there, would always help. So this calls for risk assessments on-site and off-site, depending on the size and materiality of the transactions that the company deal with. So traditional chartered accountants, I would say, need to adapt themselves to the latest changes.
What you need to do is eventually develop a cadre of forensic accountants, or forensic auditors, as you may call them, or forensic investigators, who would really report to appropriate positions within the company or maybe to the shareholders. It has to be decided, and they would probably safeguard the interests of the organization as well as its various stakeholders.
Apart from these measures, automating the IT audit process is also important and can go a long way in reducing audit failures.
Automation of audit processes have two phases. One is automation of the work papers by the auditors. Other is the use of automated tools for the audit. Both are different, and often people confuse between the two. When you look at automation of audit process, we're talking about using a friendly solution, workflow kind of a solution, wherein they are able to use the knowledge that a very high-up auditor would possess in a different country, in a different area, and in a different world. And the auditor at the ground can leverage that technology, leverage that knowledge, leverage that review process that you could have. This is one part of it. The second part of it is using tools and techniques which are automated, which enables you to do better risk assessments. One of the important aspects that has happened is the risk management that has evolved in the last decade is the quantitative risk management as against the qualitative risk management. Both are extremely important. Only quantitative risk management doesn't help. And quantitative risk management is an outcome of using modern technologies, predictive behavioral patterns, and using tools and techniques to get scores in red, amber, green color modeling. That means to convey risks in a quantitative manner. The qualitative risk management using judgment, experience, intuition to read that and use it in a friendly way.
After setting up a foolproof IT audit process, what are some of the business benefits that can be leveraged from it?
If you go back in 1992, the implementation of TradeNet by the government of Singapore where they had an average time of about 24 to 48 hours for their cargo handling. Now, Singapore is a hub, and it came up to that particular situation of operational efficiency because of introspection. When they observed that on an average it takes 24 to 48 hours for a person to have their cargo cleared from the port, they looked at it and said, how can we improve it? They deployed technology. Initially, the TradeNet users were very skeptical. They did not want to use it. But when they saw the two important things happening, first, they need not really send people to the port, stand in the queue, get the document stamped, and take 48 hours to clear their cargo, or use TradeNet, which is electronic, and have their cargo processed in 15 minutes. The other recent example, or maybe not all that recent, is McDonald's. Now, one of the franchises in the United States for McDonald's looked at the process and saw that there are a number of errors that happens between when a person is serviced. What they have ordered and what I'm delivering, there is a gap. So now I need to replace that order. So there is waste. There is, on an average, the time taken to service a particular client is anywhere between 2 to 2 minutes, 30 seconds. That's the national average. Now he looked at the process, deployed technology, and what they have done is reduce the service time from 2 minutes and odd seconds to 30 seconds to a minute. Now by shrinking this by almost half, they were able to increase the throughput of the number of cars serviced by an average of 30 cars in a particular time frame, and this has had a direct impact on their bottom line.